Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is January. Oh, wait, excuse me. It's February. That's right. February 7th, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, today I was bugging around doing my normal, day-to-day research. And I ran across something that I have not seen in a couple of years. And these photographs are just absolutely spectacular. And I also caught some video. This all started on, I believe, February 3rd. I can't seem to get my damn dates right. I think it has to do with the weather. Today we got our first real snow here in the Pittsburgh area. We picked up like 5 inches overnight into the morning. But I think I got my dates all screwed up because our temperatures here in the Pittsburgh area, they've been so moderate this winter. I'm just not getting used to this climate change. But anyways, these photographs are quite unusual, and I was pretty amazed at what I captured earlier this morning. And I haven't looked at these particular cameras for quite some time because the SEECHI section of cameras on the stereo spacecraft, they haven't been turned off, but the public access to these cameras has been turned off. They did it about a year ago, and the SEECHI cameras are part of the United States Naval Research Institute. And back in 2016 and 2017, I made some absolutely astronomical discoveries. In 2017, one of these discoveries, it got me in a lot of trouble. Once I posted the video information and the photographs, after I was done with my live stream, my YouTube channel was suspended for 30 days. Out of nowhere. And I thought that was kind of strange. I was never given any explanation from YouTube why they did that. And I'll probably never know. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and pull up these photographs. I also made a video, short video, that I'll play later on, and I'll show you guys, and I'll show you everything in motion. But I want you to pay very close attention to what I'm showing you. Pay very close attention to what I'm telling you when we're dealing with these photographs. Because first things first is everybody's going to say, oh, I could see through those photographs. I could see, oh, those are transparent. And I'll get to all of those explanations in just a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these up. Let's jump out of here. First things first. Let's check out where the positioning of this set of cameras is on the stereo spacecraft. What we're looking at is the current positioning for the Stereo A spacecraft. The set of cameras that belong to SEECHI, the U.S. Naval Observatory. Those cameras are on that spacecraft, along with the camera set up for stereo. Alrighty. So, right off the bat, as soon as I show you the photographs and the video, you're going to say to me, oh, okay, well, the object that we're seeing is probably Venus, because Venus is right there in conjunction with the camera systems that are on the stereo spacecraft. The stereo spacecraft is approximately 93 million miles away from the sun. It sits off to the left of the Earth. Stereo B is the same identical spacecraft. It just sits off to the right. However, back in 2014, they took Stereo B out of commission. They said that the spacecraft broke down during a routine roll, which it calibrates itself, and it never came back online. I don't believe that. The reason why I don't believe that is because these two angles would have given us a constant view of the sun, and we would have been able to see this object constantly, all the time. We would have been able to see it. The only time we wouldn't have been able to see it is when it went below the ecliptic. That's it. But getting back to Stereo A. Now, the Stereo A SEECHI cameras are not viewing the sun from that distance of 93 million miles. They are zoomed in. And when I mean zoomed in, they are zoomed in all the way. And the SEECHI cameras are kind of positioned just a little bit away from the sun. The reason being is that those SEECHI cameras are meant to see the output from a coronal mass ejection and solar flaring. So that's why they are not pinpointed directly on the sun. They are moved a little bit away so the sun is actually out of the picture. But you could actually see solar flaring coming into the frame. Now, what you are going to see in the video and the photographs, you're not going to see Venus, you're going to see Mercury. Okay? And we know that this object is orbiting inside of the orbit of Mercury. Mercury's approximately 39 million miles away from the sun. So that's kind of another big misconception. People think Mercury's right up against the sun, but it's not. It's 39 million miles away from the sun, and this object is very, very, very close within the orbit of Mercury. So, when you see this little round illuminated object in the photograph, remember, it's not Venus, it's Mercury, because the cameras are zoomed in all the way to the sun. So therefore, you could see on your screen, if the cameras are zoomed in, then what you're about to see is definitely not Venus, because Venus would be zoomed out of the photograph, out of the picture. This is an actual up-to-date, as of just 10 minutes ago. This is the exact positioning of the Earth, Stereo A, B, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury. So I just took this snapshot about 5 minutes before I started my live stream. So now that we got that out of the way, let's take a look at these bad boys. So I was just happened to be going through some data that is not available all the time. And this is a joint venture between the UK and the United States. Now, the UK gets this data, okay? They do have a website. And I've known about that website since 2016. And I used to use it daily. And I've made some spectacular captures. But even their data is sparse now. And I think they know that, you know, what happened in 2017, yeah, that really broke things wide open. But you could see this object. Now, this is where I was getting to my comment about everybody saying, oh, I could see right through it. Oh, it's transparent. No, no, no. It's not transparent, folks. And all of those little white dots that you see scattered across the screen in the photograph are not stars either. They're not stars. If those were stars, how would there be stars all around Mercury and all around this object? See, we only have one star in our solar system. It's the sun. So all of what you see in the background is particles, large particles, and debris that is being ejected from the sun. Because it is illuminated during this small, this was a very, very small flare-up. I don't want to call it a coronal mass ejection because it wasn't. But this happened on the 4th of February. You could see the date right at the bottom. This was very close to going into February 5th. So what you're seeing in the big sphere right here is not transparent. What you're seeing in all of those little white dots is the extreme ultraviolet light cameras picking up all of those illuminated particles. And I'm going to be quite honest, folks. All of those little particles, they're really not that little. I mean, they're quite large. I couldn't tell you exactly how large they are, but they're quite large. Now let's examine the photograph here real quick. Right over here where you see the orange disbursement, the sun is off to the left. Remember, I told you in this camera view, the sun is not in the view of the camera. It is displaced so it can see the coronal mass ejections emitting from the sun. This white area that you see right here, and you see this extended line, this white line, it's a Birkeland current line. This little round object right here, where my cursor is, that's Mercury. So that's how close this camera is zoomed in. Now, Mercury would be much, much, much closer to the camera. And this object is absolutely freaking massive. So it's very, very hard to judge the size and the perception, the depth perception, because, you know, I've always tried to figure this out, but it's just almost impossible because we're not looking at things in a 3-dimension. You know, we're just looking at them in 2 dimensions, and we're looking at them through zoomed in cameras, you know, out in space 1 million miles from Earth and 93 million miles away from the sun. But one thing that I did notice, and this is not the first time that I've captured this object on these cameras. Okay. So we'll get to that later on. But you can see that I'll zoom right in on these too, because I created all this in high definition so you guys can see it without pixelization. So you can see this somewhat of a cloudy formation around this object. And you can see all of those little white dots. So remember, it's not transparent, and these white dots are not stars. So I know hundreds of people are going to say, oh, it's transparent. Oh, you could see the stars right through it. Let me repeat one more last time. Those are not stars. If all of those little white dots, the debris was not there, it would just be plain black, because you would not be able to see the background stars at all. So I'm going to zoom into this, and you can see this cloud formation. It could be part of this object's atmosphere. It could be due to burn off because it is so close to the sun. And it is in the right position, just coming up past the sun's ecliptic, upward like this. So I would say probably within the next 5 to 7 days, somewhere around there, we're probably going to see another coronal mass ejection on the right side of the sun as we view it. And we will probably get another good look at this object. At the same time, we're going to see the increases in earthquake activity, volcanic activity, and Lord knows what else, because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on this planet. We'll get to that later on. But let me go ahead and zoom in. I'll zoom in all the way so you guys can see this. That's all the way right there. Now you can see it's not transparent. And again, those little white dots, they're not stars. You're looking at debris. So a good way of explaining this, if you've ever seen, like for instance, talking about, the flu season, and you see these short videos of somebody sneezing, and they slow it down, and you see that dreaded spray coming out when they do it in slow motion, and you have the light kind of magnifying all of that spittle all over the place. Sorry, but that's the best analogy that I could use right now to make you guys understand what's occurring in the photograph. So this is like the sun sneezing, and all of those particles are just flying everywhere. Now, this happens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the sun. The sun is a big ball of plasma, and it is constantly changing every stinking millisecond. So that's what we're looking at. You can see on the outer edge right here, let me just go ahead and back out a little bit. You can see on the outer edge that it's illuminated from this very, very small discharge coming from the sun. And again, I don't want to call it a coronal mass ejection because it really wasn't. It was more of just some solar flaring, and probably being produced and pulled, plasma being pulled away from the sun by that object. So let's jump over to the next one. This one is in a different color, and pretty much same time frame. And we could see Mercury right here. And once again, we can see this object. Now you notice the difference in the background, and now you notice the difference in this object. So now in this photograph, now you definitely see that it's not transparent. Oh, God. It's not transparent at all. And you can see it does have some sort of gaseous material around it. Now, I would suspect that any type of object that is that close to the sun would definitely have some type of gaseous burn off. There's no doubt about it. I've seen this before, but it's been a few years. And capturing this morning, I got really excited, man, because it's been a couple of years since I was able to get back into SEECHI and poke around. And lo and behold, what did we find? This is the same picture. You can see the difference in the cloud as I move it back and forth. Interesting. And the cloud formation was changing somewhat. Now, here's a different frame. Now, the object is completely dark. So now you could understand and you could see that it's not transparent. If it was transparent, then this area that is dark would be red. And again, all of this that you see here, all of that, those are not background stars. It's not outer space. It is all of this debris being sprayed out from the sun. And right here is Mercury. Same thing with this photograph. These are all pretty much the same, but they're taken kind of in a different view so we could get a better perspective of it. So if you actually just looked at that, you'd say, oh, what the hell is that? Oh, it does look transparent, but in all actuality, it is not transparent. Pretty interesting. And this one was just in black and white. And you could see the perfect outline right here. One thing that we are going to see whenever I play the video clips of this footage, we're going to see something occurring on Mercury that kind of looks like a plasma discharge. Back in 2016 and 17, before they limited our access to these cameras, we were seeing this odd flaring and these discharges from Venus. We were seeing it constantly, and we could never really explain what was actually happening. Debunkers said that it was, oh my God, I don't even believe I'm going to use the word, but they were claiming that it was lens flares. Oh my dear God. That's the only debunking tool that they had in their repertoire that the government gave them. Just tell everybody that it's a lens flare, and blah, blah, blah. So this photograph here, this is from a different camera, but you can barely see it. Now, the reason being is it's because it's a difference in the extreme ultraviolet light setting on those cameras. So there's just not one camera. There's a whole system of cameras, and they're all in a line, and they all have different functions, and they see in different levels of extreme ultraviolet light. But you could barely see the image ghosted behind. Right here, that's good old Mercury. Right there. And you could see its Birkeland current line, and that would signify to us that it is a planet. Now, many years ago, when I used to explain this to people, whenever we would capture this object on the SEECHI cameras, it would not have this Birkeland current line going through it. So that's why I continue to tell people that this object is not a planet. It is not a planet 100%. It has to be something in the lines of a very large brown dwarf star. I doubt very highly if it's a red dwarf. Red dwarfs do give off faint, very, very faint light. Or, it is a burned out core of a star. And that's where I really sit with my decision on what this damn thing is, because that would explain its very, very strong magnetic field. That would also explain how it is able to survive easily within very close proximity of our sun. Also taking into consideration that the object moves very, very fast. Very fast. So if something is moving very fast past something that's very hot, well, if you move quickly past something that's hot, you're not going to get burned that bad. You may feel the heat, but if you move slowly past something that is hot, you're going to feel the intensity much more. And I know all of you can completely understand that. Same thing. This is same photograph. These are just taken in different intensities. So you can see how the background this time is much more scattered and much, much more interference. So the photographs that we looked at in the very beginning, that was the best of the best. Oh, that's from our last capture on the 19th of January. So I'm going to move to the actual video footage, and I'm going to go back to the very beginning here. And I'm going to zoom in one more time. I'm going to zoom. That's all the way in. I wish I would have had captured it moving all the way into the picture frame. But unfortunately, when I went to access the data, the damn data ended on the 4th. Now, I'm going to wait a couple of days. I'm going to keep on checking back, and I'm going to see if they update things. When this normally occurs, and they'll update this data, we will be able to see this damn thing not only on the 4th of February, we'll be able to see it on the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, maybe even the 9th. It all depends. It all depends. But I can guarantee that if they upload February 5th and 6th, and probably the 7th, if they upload those 3 days, we'll get a full-blown shot of this damn thing. And I'm praying that they do. Let me get to this video. Let's get out of here. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Now, these are the video clips that I put together. They're very, very short because they don't give you a lot of data. I produced this early this morning in ultra high definition, 120 frames per second. So this is as good as it is going to get. I'll let this play for you folks. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee and check this out. Now remember, the small little spherical object that you see there that's going to pop up, it's going to be Mercury. So let's check this out. You can see the sun flaring. You see Mercury to your left, and you see that crazy looking loop. Let's go back and check that out again. Go back and check it out again. So let me just stop here. I'm going to stop it right there. You see Mercury right here. It may look like this object is very, very close to the camera, but it's really not. If you watch the video carefully, you can see this object's very far away from Mercury, and it's off in the distance, but it is, man, I almost dropped an F-bomb right there. It is freaking huge. It is massive. I would probably say that this object has to be, I don't know, man, probably 300,000 miles in diameter, maybe a little bit more. The sun is 865,000 miles in diameter. This object has to be somewhere in that vicinity of 300,000 miles in diameter. It has to be. The largest object, I mean, we know that there are a few more smaller ones. I don't know how big they are. We don't capture them that often because they're never in view of the cameras, maybe once or twice a year. But this is absolutely incredible. Now, Mark over at Wages World, he did a video this morning showing this flash on the coronagraphs, on the SEEDS program. And when I watched Mark's video very, 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 very early this morning, that is what teed me off to go to the SEECHI access that I have and start poking around, because it sparked something in my mind of what I saw back in 2016 and 17. And these flashes that you'll see coming up, there's only one of two things. There was a coronal mass ejection headed straight towards the Earth, and that flash is what the camera sees when it's coming directly towards the Earth. Or something else created a disturbance of some kind. Now, I saw the same thing back in 2016, saw the same damn thing in 2017. My thoughts and my ideas were correct, and we made some absolutely outstanding photo captures. And then the one in 2017, that's when, YouTube suspended my channel for 30 days for no reason. But let's check this out. Now, you'll see the flashes coming up. This is the core 1, stereo ahead core 1. This is kind of a weird view. You see the flash there. Pay very close attention. You'll see it. And that's what kind of clued me in that something's definitely not right. There's something going on out there that's not normal. It's not a normal occurrence. It's not a coronal mass ejection, okay? Because there was none. There was no coronal mass ejection. Some minor solar flaring, but that's it. And this is on the stereo ahead core 1. We don't use that very much because it is kind of a shitty view. That's Mercury right there. And again, this view on the ahead H1 or HI1, this is in extreme ultraviolet. So you could barely see that object way in the back. But the little white orb that you see there, that's Mercury. Now, here, this is from the SEEDS program. You see that flashing? All of that coordinates with the video clips that I just saw you from a completely different spacecraft in a completely different sector of space. That's how large of a flash, that's how large it was. Incredible. These are just still photographs. And this all starts to happen around the 4th of February. So we're already on the 7th. I don't have the data on the 5th, 6th, and 7th. I don't have any more data yet for that. These are just the still photographs that I showed you folks, but we're going to be getting into some things from the past that a lot of you may not have seen on my channel. I think these are spectacular, man. I mean, I don't know. There's no other object in our inner solar system that's that big. And it's not close to the camera either. That object's pretty damn far away. Very far away. But it is that big. It's huge. Pretty amazing. I just hope we get the additional data. Now, this is, I'm going to stop this right here. These are the same cameras, okay? Same cameras, but this is in 2013. And this was before I started my YouTube channel. This goes back into a lot of my early research, my early investigations into this matter. And I caught this object, and here you could see it right here. And here you could see Mercury. You could barely see the word Mercury listed right there. They used to label the planets. They don't anymore. There was a coronal mass ejection. You can see it on the right side flowing out. And you could see the object illuminated right there. So I'm going to let this play because there's some pretty cool pictures that I captured back in 2013. So what I'm trying to say is it's not the first time that I've captured this object on this set of cameras. These are just different black and white views. I still have the still photographs for this. Pretty amazing. Now this is 2016. Ha ha. Whenever I captured this object on the stereo ahead H1 or HI1 camera, this created a bunch of really, really bad attention for me. Whenever I showed everybody the photographs and the video clips, all hell broke loose that night. And I had a gang of trolls government trolls from the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and the United States. They were some type of team of scumbags, and they came after me, I'd say for the better part of 2 years, non-stop. Every video I did, they were just all over me trying to debunk everything that I was showing people. And I had some really big problems with these people, big fights with these people, but I exposed who they were, and don't hear too much from any of them anymore. Who knows? But this photograph just blew me away. There was a coronal mass ejection off to the left, right over here. This object is considerably close to the sun, very, very close. I'd probably say within a couple of 100,000 miles. And the debunkers try to say that this was a superimposed image, a reflection of the sun in the camera. Yeah. But how's that possible when the sun is not even in view of the camera lens? It's off to the left. Debunk theory, down the tubes. Furthermore, you could see at this time in 2016, you can see structure on this damn object, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it. You can see somewhat of a crest up here at its northern hemisphere. And you're going to see it in clear view. The next frame, you'll see it. There you go. Now, does that look like a superimposed image of the sun? Since when does the sun have massive plateaus? Because that's what the hell that looks like. That looks like a plateau of land. Something that you would like, you would see like out in Utah or, Montana or somewhere. It looks to me at this point, and you could see that crest right up there. And I was able to obtain very, very good photographs of this image that you're looking at right now. And you can see shadowing right there. And that shadowing next to this plateau tells me one thing. It tells me elevation. So if you know things about cameras, pictures, and videos, as much as I do and as much as I've studied over the years, you would understand that that dark area right here that I'm pointing out, that signifies height. So this object is definitely weird. Like I said, it's not a planet because it doesn't produce the Birkeland current line that you see right here. And that little teeny tiny little dot right where my cursor is, that little teeny tiny dot is Mercury. And this object is off in the distance. But remember, the perception coming from this camera is a super zoomed in effect. So it's kind of hard to judge, but it is a pretty massive object. And this was incredible. And we not only caught this in 2016, but I caught it again in 2017 And that's when YouTube came after me. And I think YouTube came after me because somebody of a higher authority told them to. And I was pretty lucky. I thought they were going to terminate my YouTube channel. But I complained and I fought back. And 30 days later, they gave me my channel back. And at that point in time, my YouTube channel's never been the same. You know, the growth of my YouTube channel, the number of subscribers, the number of views, all of that stuff, it's down in the dumps. Before, I used to generate 2.5 million views per month. You know, I'll never, ever, ever see that on this YouTube channel again. I'll be quite honest with all of you. I don't even know why they let me continue. I mean, I'm glad they do, because I like to show all of you the evidence that I find. But that's always been a big question, you know. Are they just watching what I'm doing, watching what I'm finding? You know, they already have one space probe out there, the Parker space probe, heading towards the sun, doing its loops. And they're set to, if they did not blast off another one, another solar orbiter. It's kind of weird that after the first couple of years of me exposing this information to everybody around the world, now all of a sudden, you know, NASA and the European Space Agency, they want to blast probes off to the sun, straight to the sun. Why didn't they do it 5 years ago? Why didn't they do it 10 years ago? They had the technology. They knew how to slingshot the spacecrafts straight towards the sun. They knew how to do it. They had the money. They had the funding. They had the technology. Why didn't they do it? I don't know. But let's check it out. We'll go further with the video. I wanted to show you some past information from years before, just to show you that, oh yeah, just to show you that what I'm showing you today that I captured is not just an anomaly. It's not a freak of photography. It's actually there. This, yeah. This is the photograph that they came after me for. This one in a series of a few more. This is what they came after me for. This camera view that you're looking at now, it's no longer available. You'll never see this again, ever. But once again, the debunkers came out and they said that, oh, that's nothing but a superimposed image of the sun on the camera lens. But that's not true, folks, because if you look at this thin circle right here, you see this area right here? Right there. That is actually the housing of the spacecraft, and the camera is behind it. And that outer lens, that's to protect the camera. But nowhere in this photograph do you see the sun. So how in the hell can you have this optical illusion, this breakdown? Oh, they called it a glitch. That was the terminology that they used. It was a glitch. Oh, okay. Well, The year before, was that a glitch also? Yeah. And the photographs that I captured today? Oh, was that just another glitch? I think you all see my point by now. And let me point something out. You see here at the bottom? You see that crested area here and the crested area up at the top? I've shown you guys the sun thousands of times on this channel, showing you the SDO and things of that nature. When have you ever seen crested areas on the north and south poles of the sun? Never. Thank you very much. Let's check out some more data here. Planet X Object 2017. Now check this out. This was a massive coronal mass ejection. July 23rd, 2017. I'll never forget this date. I woke up that morning very, very early. Went to start, checking on a few things. And lo and behold, boom, we had a very, very large coronal mass ejection. Look what you see right here. Woo! Yeah, baby. Look what you see up in that massive coronal mass ejection. Do you think that's a camera anomaly? How the hell can a freak of nature like the sun pretend that it's Picasso or Leonardo da Vinci, paint a perfectly spherical planetoid-looking object within its coronal mass ejection, which is like 1 billion nuclear bombs going off? Speechless? Speechless. So was I. Now, I didn't have some of the sophisticated software that I do now back then. But towards the end of 2018, when I acquired some better software, learned how to use it, check this out. Let's let this play through. This is zoomed in. I'm going to stop it here. Now, you could take a look at it. You can see the coronal mass ejection wrapping around it as the coronal mass ejection's moving outward. Now, somebody asked me the other day, I don't know if they were being facetious or just being, a smart ass, whatever. But they said, isn't it possible that when these coronal mass ejections occur, that they produce a ball? And that's what we're seeing? Look, you can go back through all of the coronal mass ejections as far back as the data archives will let you. I think they go back to maybe 2006, 2007. Okay? You don't see that. I've been through tons of that data. So has Mark over at Wages World. So what makes all of those coronal mass ejections different from the ones that we're now picking this object up? Plasma balls? Never seen them before. Don't even know what the hell they are. Never seen the sun produce one. I sure as hell never seen the sun produce a plasma ball that had structure, that maintained its perfectly spherical shape. There you go. Now check this out. Next frame coming up. Now, this is what we just viewed, and this is super zoomed in, and with the software that I had back then, which was pretty damn good, I was able to create an ultra high definition, unpixelated view in black and white of that object that was caught in that coronal mass ejection. Once again, people asked me, oh, that's transparent. We could see right through it. What can you see through it? You can't see anything through it because it's a solid object. What you see in the little teeny tiny white dots, as I explained to you in the beginning of this live stream, is material being ejected from the sun. Those pieces of material are quite large. They're pretty damn big, but you can't see through it. And if you take a look at the nice circular outline there, you could see that the coronal mass ejection hit it and literally wrapped around it. We'll get another view of this in a different shade of a color, brings out a little bit more of the actual object. So again, people said, oh, I could see right through it. No, you can't see right through it. You're looking at little teeny pieces of debris spewing from the sun in that coronal mass ejection, which was absolutely massive. Massive. And they're not behind this object, they're in front of it. This object's behind it. Pretty amazing. Focus your eyeballs in on that for a minute. Yeah. That's what I thought. So this video will jump back to the very beginning. Pretty interesting, man. Very, very, very interesting. I'm going to jump over here to my Planet X folder for a second. Do 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 do. Now this wasn't too good of a clear shot, but this takes us all the way back to 2007. A lot of people ask me all the time, how long has this object been there? When's it going to leave? How did it get here? Well, it obviously got here from somewhere in space outside of our solar system. I believe that this was some type of a rogue object that was in a hypervelocity state. There are hypervelocity stars. There are hypervelocity planets. They are normally ejected from the center of our galaxy. They move at millions of miles per hour and pretty much in a straight line, just like you shoot a bullet. Eventually, these objects, whether they're a hypervelocity star or a hypervelocity planet, they can travel for thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, or billions of years, they can travel through space and not come in contact with anything. They could have collisions with other planets, stars, black holes, whatever. But that's one of my theories, is that this object at one point in time was a hypervelocity object. And it was making its way straight towards our little teeny tiny solar system. Like finding a needle in a haystack, literally. It's not impossible. And our sun has a very, very strong gravitational force. It is highly possible that as this object was coming in, it was interacting with some of our outer planets. It may have slowed it down. I don't know. It may have been on a trajectory coming close to the sun. And at some point in time, the sun's gravity took hold of it. I also have another theory that there's a possibility that this object wasn't as big as it is now. Yeah. And that's what scares me. Stars do expand. Stars do contract and shrink. I'm not sure over the years of this object orbiting our star, orbiting our sun, there are days that I think that over the last 10 years, is this damn thing getting bigger? Is it pulling mass from our sun twice a month and getting bigger? I sure as hell hope not. It's just a theory, just a thought. But as far as I know, the data that I have shows it coming in first documented video footage 2007. Yeah. And I've shown that video clip quite a few many times. What I wanted to do is go all the way down to here. I wanted to bring up this photograph so I could show you guys this. This was the photograph that we were talking about that was in the video. I was talking about this structure. Remember this plateau region here, and you could see the shadowing, the black area here, which would be an elevation. Now we could zoom in on it. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, does that look like it's the sun? Sure as hell doesn't look like the sun to me, does it? But, you know, folks, these debunkers, the people that do not want you to understand this information, they do not want you to see this information, they do not want you to believe in this information, they will say whatever the hell comes to mind in order for you not to believe it. And frankly, I don't want to say that. I don't know. There's some days that I think to myself, wow, I've poured half my life into proving this. What has it done for me? Mostly turned my life pretty much upside down. you know. Here's the other photograph, and you can see that structure right there, right there, right there, right there. And it looks like, I don't know, those could have been lava fields on the top and on the bottom. It could have been ice, which, as it kept on orbiting closer and closer and closer and closer to the sun, where it's set now, where we can see it every 28 days, twice a month, that's probably pretty much burned off. Pretty damn interesting, man. I must say. And then, I want to show you guys something here real quick. I want you to pay very close attention to this, I'll call it strifing. These lines that are all through this object. To me, kind of looks like material being stripped away from it, basically. Its outer shell being destroyed or torn apart by the sun, therefore leaving more of a core, possibly where it's at now. Because now we see more of a perfect spherical shape, smooth. So there is a high possibility that over these years, as this orbit tightened to where it is right now, the sun literally ripped off all of the outer surfaces of this object, whatever the hell it is. It's not a planet. So for all of you that still believe in Nibiru and you still say in the comment section, oh, a planet this, a planet that, a planet, it's not a planet. It's not a planet. It is not. Period. So, I want you to take a close look. Oops, going the wrong way. Now this goes back to 2018. This was one of the only photographs ever captured from an observatory in Germany. You'll never, ever, ever see anything like this in your life. I was working hand in hand with two astronomers that worked at an observatory in Germany. They saw a few of my videos when people in Germany, people throughout all of Europe, people throughout the whole entire world were able to see my videos. They offered to help me. And for a few weeks they tried to, I couldn't give them coordinates, but I could tell them possibly what areas, what sections of the sun, close by the sun, to look at. Over a short course of time, they were able to capture it. But what do you notice? Let's zoom in. What do you notice? You notice those same strifing lines ripping across the surface. For instance, when a coronal mass ejection hits it, it was literally just ripping through this object and just ripping the surface area off. I have better, higher definition photographs of this that I created a while back. You are able to see very, very close the surface area. To me, some of the closer surface areas look like volcanoes. So again, I mean, it is very, very hard to pinpoint what this object actually is. And then in another study, they were able to capture this photograph, and that was it. That was it. I never heard from them again. I think that they got scared at what they saw, and I don't know, they cut off all email communication with me. I tried to send them emails. They bounced back. Email address, no good. I don't know. They were very, very paranoid. They didn't want to get caught doing what they were doing. I don't know. Maybe they did get caught. I don't know. Another mystery. This photograph was slightly blurred. Very, very odd. But folks, it just goes to show you how much I've put into this work over the years, and people still try to say, "Oh, that's nothing but BS, blah, blah, blah." And then we go and we make a photo capture like this in 2018. Well, what the hell is that? Coronal mass ejection. Halo coronal mass ejection. Huge. What the hell is that? Exactly. I'm glad you guys see things my way. And I'm going to show you guys the higher definition photograph of this monster. And this is an area over here in the observatory photograph that looks like damn volcanoes. That's as far as I could zoom in. And even up in these areas, I don't know why it's blue at the time. I know it's definitely not water, because there are brown dwarf stars that are blue. They did not name brown dwarf stars brown because of their color, because you can't really see them. They were named after a female astronomer whose last name was Brown. So that's how they got the name brown dwarf. Same photograph, just a little different coloring. And these areas here that you could see, this is what I was thinking that was possibly volcanoes. And this yellowish area, I don't know if it was, I don't know what the hell it is. For some reason, sulfur comes into mind. I don't know if that's even possible, but it's definitely weird. Here's a black and white. Really weird, man. You know, I mean, these photographs shocked me, and they definitely shocked a lot of people when they saw them for the first time. Pretty crazy. And this was very, very ultra high definition. We're able to zoom in on this bad boy pretty far. And these are the areas that I was referring to in this yellowish color. I don't know why sulfur came to mind. I don't know why. I doubt it would be sulfur, but it's weird. It's definitely weird. Pretty crazy. And there was one other photograph I wanted to show you guys. I think this is it. Yeah. And this was captured. I captured this right on the SDO Solar Dynamics Observatory, 2018. I forget what month it was. Take a look right over here. Right there. Let's zoom in. Bingo. So you see, folks, if you haven't been following this YouTube channel for very long, I've produced over, 2,300 videos since 2016, showing the best evidence that there is available for public viewing. And you're not going to see any lens flares on this YouTube channel. You are going to see nothing but hardcore proof. There's a little piece of it right there. Yeah. Yeah, but I wanted to show you guys, I know there's a lot of people that are new to this YouTube channel and still have a lot of questions. It's very hard for me to sit here and every single video I do recap everything from the very, very beginning. So, you could go back through some of my videos over the past year. That would be my best suggestion for all of you, because I do explain things the best that I can. And if you go back through some of these videos over the past year or the last 2 years, it'll better help you understand what's going on. So all of the data is there. It's all within my videos. Here's the comparison, the comparison photograph that I wanted to show you guys. So this was 2016 in the blue, and this was 2018. Yeah. So 2018? Yeah. This was in, 2017. This was in May of 2017. Pretty interesting, don't you think? It still boggles my mind daily that I want to know what the hell it is. Specifically, I want to put that label on it. I know it's not a planet. What the hell is it? Freaks me out some days. Keeps me awake. It's probably why I don't sleep that much. But anyways, folks, I wanted to show you guys the newest evidence that I've acquired just today. I think it's pretty spectacular. I don't know about you guys, but to me, that is just more proof that we have one huge intruder, a new neighbor in our solar system that does interact with our sun. It is in a 28-day orbit. It is orbiting our sun in a very eccentric and elliptical orbit. It drops down below the ecliptic. It comes right back up in a matter of 10 days, loops up around the sun, comes back down. We see the coronal mass ejections to the left of the sun, to the right of the sun, and we see them right on target. Over the last year, throughout 2019, I was able to predict its motion, its orbit, put together that model to show everybody recently, and there you have it, man. I think over time, a long period of time, I think disturbances on Earth will get worse. It would actually have to get worse. I think that is another reason why there is such a big push to have man go out into the cosmos. They talk about the moon, bases on the moon, people living on Mars, whatever. I think that's already happened. Who knows? More of the big unknown. But you can see clearly what is happening on this planet. In the age of social media, it's very easy to see what is happening. My Planet X News Facebook page and the Planet X News group page, and also the my website that I produce pretty much daily articles. I try to put out as much information as I possibly can for all of you. And don't take this the wrong way. Maybe some of you will, maybe some of you won't. But read. When I post an article, just don't look at the thumbnail and say, oh, wow. Click on it, go to it, and read it. Because it's there. It's there for a reason. And the reading is the education. And I can't touch this subject right here anymore. They don't want me touching this subject anymore. I'm not even going to go into it. But this was something that I ran across and started looking into a long time ago. And more information's coming out. And scientists are discovering these huge spots of warm water beneath the Antarctic. And they're melting glaciers in certain areas. This one's called the Doomsday Glacier. And just today, all over the headlines, man, from CNN to Fox to the Washington Post to New York Times, ABC, CBS, NBC, BBC, everywhere around the world, yesterday, the highest temperature in Antarctica was recorded at 65 degrees Fahrenheit. That's right. 65 degrees Fahrenheit in the Antarctic. Yeah, baby. But these are very, very good reads on what is happening down here in the most mysterious place on our planet, Antarctica. And matter of fact, I got a few screenshots of this 65-degree temperature in the Antarctic. Esperanza Station. That is the peninsula that jets out, and it's close to the very southern tip of Argentina and South America. They recorded a temperature of 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Why? One scientist tried to say that it had nothing to do with anything else other than trapped gases in the atmosphere and blamed it on man. That was probably the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. Because there are sections of the Antarctic that have been heating up for years due to underwater volcanoes. And all of a sudden, over the last 5 years, these underwater volcanoes are coming to life. Just like all of the other volcanoes on this planet. So they try to BS you with the highest temperature ever recorded in the Antarctic. 65 degrees. This photo was in the article. I don't know. Some parts of the Antarctic are turning green. Yeah. Green, man. Plants are growing. They have towns all over. You see in the photograph, it's recent. There's no snow. There's thousands of people living there. Now, they're all along the shorelines in certain areas. They're definitely not in the middle of the Arctic or the Antarctic. You can go to Google and you could Google simply towns in Antarctica and check it out for yourself. You'll be quite amazed at what's going on down there. Now, this is their summer, but ladies and gentlemen, we've never seen greenery in the Antarctic. They have expeditions that go there every single summer in their summer in the Southern Hemisphere. It's easier for them to get there. And they have huge expeditions. They have people living there year-round. But something mysterious, once again, is going on in the Antarctic. But this was a very interesting article. You guys can check out the website. Weird stuff going on. One thing I did want to mention is a week ago in my live stream, I had mentioned things that were going to be changing in Australia. I had a few people, send me some messages telling me that I did not know what I was talking about. There's no rain that's coming to Australia. I don't know why people, they were saying, I don't know why people listen to you. You're a liar. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, I don't know. I do know what I'm talking about, and I research weather every single day around the entire world. And I said that things are going to be changing very rapidly in Australia, and they're going to be getting hit with massive amounts of rain. Well, what just happened over the last 48 hours? Massive amounts of rain. Parts of Australia set to experience heaviest rain and flooding in years. February 4th, 3 days ago. I said it even earlier than that in my last live stream. And they got pounded. Flooding. Torrential rains. So much that it went across and flooded parts of New Zealand. So, things are going to continue. There was an actual weather report that I embedded in this article, and you guys can read it. There was the storm systems. I took this right off of my radar and embedded it into the article. And, you guys should read the articles. Read the articles and share them for other people so they can see what is happening. There's weird things happening. This was a epic locust outbreak turns into full-blown crisis throughout East Africa. Oh, God. Every 7 years we have that outbreak of cicadas here in Pennsylvania. Oh, God, it's disgusting. It makes riding your Harley in the summer impossible without eating about 50 of these as you travel 1 mile down the road after they're blasting off of your face. But I saw some videos that were coming out of parts of Africa with this. And, oh my God, man, I can't stand them damn things. They really give me the creeps. But this guy over here, he seems to be dancing around, or he's running for his life as he's being engulfed by these nasty things. There's a video here from Somalia, and, yeah, I embedded a video in there. And there's another one in here that you guys can watch. This hits Ethiopia, Somalia, and Kenya. And those creepy little nasty bugs, they're just everywhere. I don't know. Some people thought it was apocalyptic, biblical, whatever, man. It was still pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. There's a lot of things also going on. You guys can check out in the Planet X News Facebook group. All the links are in the description box under all of my videos. And everybody has a chance to post pertinent information here, chat with each other, share information. This was, somebody just posted this. And this is pertaining to the Antarctica hitting 65 degrees. And again, this was in the Washington Post, one of the largest newspapers in the United States, owned by Jeff Bezos, the man who owns Amazon. So you could see I had posted information on it along with some photographs. And big storms. They got this big tropical storm, Damon, that's about to blast Western Australia. Just like I said last week, things are going to be changing down there, and it is going to be nasty. Australia has gone through literally hell with the burning fires, and now there's a very, very high possibility, what I see in the way that the jet streams are setting up in the southern hemisphere and the temperatures of the oceans. It's, look, it's just, there's no end in sight. It's going to be going from one extreme to the next. And just like some parts of the world, things are never, ever going to be the same. And that's sad. But this is the world that we're living in, and these are the things that are happening. Here's another article that somebody posted about the temperature in the Antarctic. This was really big news. I mean, every major news agency picked it up, and it's pretty weird. I did catch one news report where they were interviewing a scientist on CBS Morning News, and that's in the article about the Doomsday Glacier. Pretty sure I embedded the video. Yeah, there's the videos embedded into the article, and this was just a few days ago. This scientist was on CBS Morning News, and he was discussing this Doomsday Glacier. And they've been doing quite a bit of research down there on this specific area. Oh, I'll show you where it's at. There's a couple of regions here. This is the area right here, the Thwaites Glacier. This thing is absolutely massive. There's also another worrisome glacier here, another one here, and several right in here. The problem is that something is heating up underneath the ice. And when I say underneath the ice, this is what we're looking at here. So the ice, the glaciers are pushing their way outward into the ocean. They don't really know why. The waters are warmer, and they're basically cutting out the ice, and the weight is just cracking pieces of it off. But there is also heating going on way up on the glaciers on land. What they're worried about is a sudden fracture at a higher level that would cause the entire glacier to all at once start to slide right into the ocean. And these glaciers have been around for tens of thousands of years. The ice is miles thick. This scientist said in that interview on CBS Morning News, he said if something would occur that these glaciers and these ice shelves collapsed and all of them pushed into that bay area of the ocean, quote, he said you could say goodbye to large portions of the state of Florida and coastal cities like New York, Boston, areas of South Carolina, and around the world. I don't know how true that is, but that's what he said. And that's what's happening. So, a lot of good reading material there. You could do me a favor and you could do others a favor and share the information, man. Doesn't take but a click here, a click there, and share the information. Maybe write about it, whatever you want to do. But first and foremost, folks, like I've always said, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, man. And we can't allow people, the elite, whoever the hell they are, we cannot allow our knowledge to be taken away from us. I try to learn every single day. My mind is like a freaking encyclopedia. And read these articles. Read the information. I mean, you're talking about maybe 5 to 10 minutes of your time to read it. It's good brain food. And if anything ever pops up and somebody asks a question about something that you see on Facebook, then you could be like Einstein and you could answer their question. But anyways, folks, I was glad I had the opportunity, to show you guys what I found today. I think it was just absolutely amazing. Once again, incredible. Just incredible. And we're going to be coming up on that 28-day orbit in about 7 to 10 days. And we'll probably see another coronal mass ejection. We'll probably get another very, very good capture. But one thing I wanted to point out real quick. Have you noticed how calm the earthquake situation has been since our last discovery? We've only had, 1 magnitude 6 earthquake go off in Indonesia. I was just telling Mark, maybe 2 days before that, I told him, I said, yeah, there's some geomagnetics going on. We'll probably see an earthquake in the Indonesia area. Watch for it. 24 hours later, bingo, that occurred. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a calmness for maybe another week. And then it's going to kick off again, folks. And this is going to be the pattern that we live in. This is going to be the life that we live in on this planet now. And I do think over time, over this next decade, things are going to get really interesting. At the same time, they will also be life-threatening for different folks in different regions on this planet. There's no doubt about it. There's no way to run from it. But the more we know about it, I think the better off that we will be. But anyways, folks, I'm out of here. I am going to go and watch this ridiculous Democratic debate. And then I'm going to catch me a few hours of sleep, and I will be right back at it. Do me a favor. Share this live stream. Share the videos. Share. Share it all, man. Anyways, folks, a lot of nasty weather whipping across the United States and elsewhere. So once again, be very, very cautious of your weather. Watch your weather very, very carefully. Don't become a statistic. And you will hear from me very, very soon. Take care, folks. Be safe.